right? It's been bullish. It's been extremely bullish, breaking new records, breaking previous highs, just moving, just moving. So that's what I like to see. That's what we want to see, right? Ever since we broke the all-time highs back in the beginning of the year, it's just been on a rampage. Over 5,000 pips to the upside just from the break above. And if you notice here, once price broke above the previous all-time highs, we got a nice little retest, and then boom, haven't come back ever since. Very simple, nothing too crazy, nothing too crazy. But as we go down to the smaller time frames, let me show you guys how we were able to catch this. I actually took this trade last night before bed, and it's right here. I'm zooming in because price is up here, right? And ever since last week, I was trying to catch this move down here, but we never even came back. We never came back, but this original setup was used to take price and break above these highs, right? And because of that, that's why I was looking to catch some type of pullback on here, but we never got it. And then once we got closer to these all-time highs, we gave one last setup, and price took off, and we still haven't come back here, right? And price isn't obligated to come back. We don't know what it's gonna do, but the most ideal location would have been here, catching buys back around 21,250. But as we see here, we haven't even really made it quite down that far. And really quick, going to the daily chart. Yesterday on the market recap, I noticed that we had an imbalance candle right here. Right, we had this huge gap, and price came right in there, filled it, and took off. Nas loves to grab these imbalances and just continue the move. Of course, we have lower ones here and here, but sometimes it may just use this one. Like, we don't know which one it wants to attack. Sometimes the liquidity inside of these imbalances is all it needs in order to continue and break more highs. And as we can see on the daily candle close, we did officially close above previous all-time highs once again. So this is another indication that price wants to continue bullish. As long as price keeps making higher highs and higher lows, that lets us know that price wants to continue doing what it's doing. And then as we break it down on the 1 hour, right, we did, again, this is that imbalance fill. Technically, we never broke beneath these lows. So that let me know that price may still want to respect this structure. We never got a full body candle close beneath these lows. We did wick below it, but that's not enough to let us know that price wants to, shift short-term structure. Okay, and then as we break this down on smaller time frames, how we were able to catch this move in here was this right here. As soon as I saw price on the daily respect that imbalance, I knew that something was up. It was a little bit too suspicious. I was like, okay, like usually when this happens, Nas likes to just continue. And then this EMA here has literally been a lifesaver because sometimes, I want price to come lower, but this 900 EMAs will hold price up. It'll hold it up as we see here. So as we came closer and we respected that, I was like, maybe price doesn't want to break beneath this. So what I did was I did some digging, a little bit of dissection. I believe it was on the 5 minute yesterday. We had a solid confirmation that price wanted to continue to the upside. Once we broke above these highs here, we kept making lower lows and lower highs. Lower lows and lower highs. Lower lows, we didn't make a lower high. We actually broke above that, shifted structure to the upside, and gave us a change of character or a break of structure to let us know that price no longer wants to continue the downtrend, and now we are shifting to the upside. So once we got that, I saw a lot of consolidation. It was like 10 p.m., like 10 something. Let me see. It was around here where I entered the trade, and I also saw this as well. Right, we had the liquidity being built up right there. We swept the lows, and then we did break above, retested. a bunch of consolidation, a lot of emotional damage. People don't know what's going on. They're like, oh, I don't know, it's consolidated. I don't know. But if you look closely, there's several setups and several confirmations that happened right after this one. So that's why we were able to enter in here in these areas. And then as we see with news, that just allowed price to continue in the bullish direction. But there is an opportunity for us to catch the re-entry, because now when you zoom out on the 1 hour time frame, we have more confirmation. We have just consider all this liquidity, right? And again, I went over all this yesterday on the call. Consider all this liquidity, anything from these lows to the highs, liquidity, right? Liquidity being built up, and then boom, we swept it. Also tapping, we swept all these lows, and at the same time, we tapped into the daily imbalance, even tapping into some more order blocks and other structure here. And then we did break above these highs. And we also broke above these highs. So now, again, if price does decide to retrace, I wouldn't mind catching any entries from the previous all-time highs and below. All we need to do now is wait for another setup. Maybe it'll be here, and we can continue to take these plays, or it'll be lower. It'll be lower somewhere down here, like we don't know. All we can do is wait for the setup. And then with current price action right now, once we zoom in, we broke above this structure here. This was a high. We broke above it with a very nice candle, and then price closed, filling in some of this imbalance here. So as we go down and dissect this even more, this is another setup. There's another buy setup here. You see it on the 5 minute, but I am going to go down to the 1 minute just because it is more clear. Again, we have more liquidity being built up, right? From these highs to these lows, all this liquidity. And then we did sweep it, broke above these highs, retested a few times, and then price flew for over about 90 pips. So this is pretty solid. So as price is working its way down, we can possibly even see some re-entries happening over here, right? Some liquidity, sweep, break above, continue. It may happen here. We don't know. I just don't know. And then if you draw the Fibonacci from the lows right here to the highs, you know, we are hovering right above the 50%. And of course, you know, the lower, lower the percentage of the better. It's more discount for us. So right now we're just waiting for price to either give us this trade at these highs, and if this structure fails, you know, obviously there's better setups lower, right down here. You know, I don't mind being patient. We're gonna see what happens in here. Okay, any trades up here are considered a little bit more high risk, only because we are pretty high. But again, like structure, you know, especially with NAS, like we can't really predict what it wants to do. And the best way to trade is to take your feelings out of the equation and just go based off what the chart is telling us. What is the chart saying at this exact moment? It's telling us that, you know, we have a buy set up here. We broke above these highs, and possibly we can continue this. And then seeing that we have the EMA right here, that lines up with the structure, right? By the time price makes its way down, this EMA may be up here somewhere. So we may respect this. Who knows? And we are above, you know, this moving average on every time frame from the 1 minute and above. So to me, that's extreme bullishness. Extreme bullishness. If you're above EMAs, even on the 1 minute, that's extreme bullishness. So we'll see what they want to do. And the reason why I don't mind being a little bit more patient is because if you look at US 30 didn't give us that move. US 30 actually sold off today, and I'm still waiting to catch these down here. This is more preferred down here for US 30, and I like US 30 because it does move more pips, and I like how it lines up with this here. There's a setup right in here as well. Again, we've been going over this. Boom, liquidity, sweep, break above. So I would love to catch some US 30 swings from 4,400 and then ride it back up to these all-time highs. That's 1,000 pips. Super solid. Super solid. Facts. Facts. Hot Cheeto eating Latina with Arizona honey ginseng iced tea on the side. You feel me? Red fingers. All that. All that. A little attitude. That's okay. You know, toxic but loyal. Right? She's a little toxic, but she is loyal. You feel me? And there's, you know, of course, there's a lower entry down here, which, you know, obviously the lower the better, but we'll see what happens here first. We can't get down here unless we violate this structure. So we'll see what happens in there. And then SPX kind of gave it away as well yesterday because we've been looking at the setup for a while. We have this liquidity buildup, you know, support, resistance, whatever you want to call it. Boom. And then we swept the support. We swept the lows. We took out the buyers. And then we broke above, flew. And as price worked its way down, we tried to respect it here, sold off even more. And this is a prime example of how price likes to wick you out, but then continue. But because it was a wick and not a full body candle, this whole setup is still valid. And as you see, price did make its move. And then if you wanted more confirmation, the fact that we did break above these highs here, let us know that price wants to continue. And this is also another setup as well, right? We have a low, we have a high, we swept the lows and then broke above. That's another setup inside of the original setup. So that's double confirmation. That's more evidence for us to believe that price wants to continue higher. And that's why I like trading with structure, because it just makes it black and white. It just keeps it black and white, keeps it simple. You don't have to, you know, pull your hairs out trying to figure out, oh, what's going on? I don't know, right? And then shout out to Chris as well, because look, this is the previous day high. And what happened? We swept that previous day high and then sold off tremendously. So it's always important when you are trading, don't be afraid to take profits at these highs, right? This is a take profit zone. And even when we get up here, this is another high. Don't be afraid to take some partials, because more than likely, once we do sweep highs or lows, price tends to reverse. The same way down here. We swept these lows with this wick here. And what happened? Price reversed. So if you were selling, this is where a lot of sellers took their profit and buyers stepped in. So again, don't be afraid to, you know, pay yourself, right? One thing I heard is you can never go broke taking profits, right? Because the money is going to come in. So that's what I have for indices, all three. I don't mind, you know, waiting for price to drop, especially looking at US 30. US 30 has some more room to go. So we'll see what happens. But once US 30 does tap into the zone and fly, that may cause NAS and SPX to also continue flying. So as of right now on NAS, if you have been following along, make sure you go ahead and mark up your charts and set some alerts for here for these highs for the retest, because this is a huge imbalance. Very, very huge imbalance here. And also set your alerts here, because we could just get the simple break and retest, right? We can get that simple break and retest for price to continue. And then for my sellers, I know we got some sellers on the call. Exactly, 50% fib. I love it. I love to correlate the Fibonacci with the entry, because that just gives even more confirmation. But for the sellers out there, again, if price is making higher highs and higher lows, right? Higher highs and higher lows. In order to identify a sell, we have to break beneath a previous low, right? And we did. We broke beneath these lows, and these lows, and these lows. So what you can do to identify where you can start entering is go ahead and mark up the lows that we broke beneath. You know, that's structure. We're breaking beneath these lows, and just look at this small instance here. We broke beneath these lows here with a full body candle. Even though it barely broke over the low with the body candle here, that still counts. And then what happened with the next candle became wicked in, sold off. Wicked in, sold off. Right? These are the high probability trades. Sold off with no drawdown, barely. Very nice reaction. Very nice reaction. So now what's happening? Price is starting to consolidate. And what do you look for? You look for, consolidation, blah, blah, blah. We sweep it, break above, boom. That's an entry. It's always going to be the same thing over and over again. And if you want to mark up these lows as well, right? Boom. So in order for us to have more confidence, we need to break above these highs. Now you can use this whole zone as liquidity. All right, we have these lows here with the wick, these highs, and then boom, we did sweep beneath it. So if we do end up breaking above, that's your indication that price wants to go higher. All we can do is wait and be patient. Again, we don't know what it wants to do. If you want to catch the sells, then it would be best to sell like somewhere here, or even higher up there. And there's also higher ones up here as well. But I would start to scale in at these areas. Okay, but for me personally, I'm just gonna allow price to sell off if it wants to, and then start to look here for some possible entries. And if it does come here, and if you're unsure, you don't know what to do, maybe you want to, wait for more confirmation, then yeah, just wait for another setup to happen. If you see this happen again, go ahead and pull the trigger. Go ahead and pull the trigger. Right? So that's what we're looking at for NASDAQ. If you guys have any questions, I'll stay on for another few minutes for you guys can ask those questions. If you guys have any chart requests or markups you want to go over, let me know. Let me know. Oh, I meant to put this on the chart. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Just looking at that. The market opens back up in the next 45 minutes, so you'll see. What's URI? Is that like a stock? Oh, okay, let me see. URI. United Rentals Incorporated. I'm assuming it's part of the NASDAQ. Okay. Going to the 12-month. Just see it overall. Extremely bullish. Extremely bullish. Let's go down to the monthly. Sheesh. So many setups. Liquidity sweep, break above. Just going back real quick. Look how nasty this was. Broke above these highs here. Stop loss. We swept these lows. And then stop loss is right here. Nasty work. Nasty work. We had a low, a high. We swept the lows. And then we did break above these highs. We came back to retest and flew. Gave people confidence and then came all the way back down. Still respecting the same setup and then flew. All right, I just had to point that out because, sheesh, that's just super clean structure. And then looking closer, let's go down to the weekly real quick. I'm already looking here at these previous month lows as liquidity. We have this imbalance here as well. Like this is nasty. It's cooking up right now. Let me see on the daily. And with stocks, it does look nasty like this. So what I do, I go to the line chart. It just makes things more clear. And you can mark up the highs as well. All right, put it on the wick because the wick does matter. But I'm assuming, because there's so many gaps, I'm assuming there's setups in here as well. But yeah, I would start looking right after these lows get swept for some entries. Let's go down to the 1 hour. Oof. Yeah, this is nasty. It's lining up perfectly. If we turn in after hours, it will show the candles in the gap. How do you do that? Turn on after hours? Huh. Learn something new. Bottom right, is this the settings? where it says RTH. Let me see. RTH. Oh, down here. Huh. That's crazy. Wow. Okay. Shout out to Chrome. I see you. All right. It's still ugly. Still a little ugly, you know. But yeah, it's there. It's there. But yeah. With La Pampera. Yeah, man. So if you were looking for some buys on here, are you investing in this stock like long term? Let me actually do 800 as a psychological number. Yeah, let me do this real quick. You have 10 shares and bet. Yeah, it's about to give you some more stacking opportunities. 750. Yeah, I would start looking between like 750 and like 700 for some possible continuations. For yeah, I'll take a look at that for you. Take a look at that for you. But yeah, for you, I will look with like at 750 maybe for some re-entries. And if not that, then maybe lower. You can draw the Fibonacci as well. Maybe see where the discount would be. Oh, perfect. Like the 50% lines up perfectly with 750. So yeah, for like discount buys, start looking here. And then the fact that we have like equal lows and this is the previous month low, like to me, this looks like it wants to get cooked. It may get swept real quick, tap into there, then gap up like crazy. And since it is part of the NASDAQ, yeah, it's bullish overall. Like this stock is bullish. So yeah, just keep stacking that up. Sheesh, I've been following this for a minute. But yeah, Fart Coin, is that on here? It is. That's crazy. All right, guys. Apparently they have a coin called Fart Coin. So here we go. Look at this candle. It's just bullish for the year. It's up. You know. And then we broke above these highs here. Right here, what it prices is 45. Yeah, 0.45. Boom. That's a major level. Farcoin is absolutely, it is wild. But he's up. He's up some, yeah. He's up. Yeah, this is solid. If I were to go into Farcoin, I would probably get it back at 45. But let's see if there's it may give some higher setups that we might overlook. Again, there was a setup here. We had liquidity being built up. We swept the lows and we did break above these highs, retested and took off. So this was a solid entry too. Once these highs were broken above with the full body candle, we retested a few times and then price flew. Price flew over 20%. And we also broke above these highs here. That's more confirmation that price wants to go higher. Right? Once we broke above these highs here with this candle, we retested, flew, came deeper, filled in some of this imbalance, and then it continued. So this is fairly bullish. You got to start looking at the chart. All we can do now is wait for another setup. Dang, I do see one here too. Sheesh. Let me go down. Yeah, once we broke above these highs too, that counted. So I would either catch some plays down here or we may get a continuation here. Let me draw the fib from the lows, right? These are the lows, the highs. Boom. Super clean. So yeah, you can wait for the discount. If price doesn't want to give you the discount, it may give you a higher entry. What are you buying it on? Because that's insane. That's insane. Mex, is that like an app? Mex. Oh, nice. Okay, I'm gonna have to get that. I'm gonna have to get that. Okay, solid. I know y'all see this right here. Anytime I see a V, I know there's a setup somewhere, right? We have liquidity. We swept the lows and we did break above the highs. So this is even a setup as well. Boom. VPN, VPS, right? Shout out to my guy Prince is on the call. He just joined us today, getting the ball rolling again with trading. You know, he wants to, you know, take this seriously. So shout out to my guy Prince. Let's run it up, brother. Only when you sign in, you need a VPN. Okay. Which VPN do you recommend? Or does it matter which one? Doesn't matter? Okay, bet. Sounds good. Sounds good. What else do you guys want to look at? I know Bitcoin's back at 100. Bitcoin's back at 100. And then XRP, I believe, recovered as well. Yeah. After that $2 price. Okay. Super clean. Super clean. Let me go ahead and stop this real quick.